Hello, everybody. Josh Neighbors here, Locked On Nationals podcast. Today is the 27th of May, 2022, and we have a Nationals victory to talk about. Nationals 7, Rockies 3 in game 1 of their 4-game set. We'll talk about that. Patrick Corbin getting his first win of the year. The Nationals winning back-to-back games. The bullpen looking strong. Offense looking better. Nelson Cruz is hot right now, so there's a whole lot of positive things talk about for the Nationals, and we'll see if they can keep it rolling. We'll look ahead to see if they can as well. Whole lot coming up on the show.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Once again, hello everybody. Josh Neighbors here, Locked On Nationals podcast. It is the 27th of May, 2022. It is Friday. Hope you all are having a great start to your weekend. On the show, once again, talking about the Nationals win. Before that, make sure you follow us on Twitter at LO_Nationals. You guys can find me at Josh Neighbors _. You can find the show wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube as well. Encourage you all to engage with us on YouTube. Have really enjoyed the comments that we've been seeing lately about things like the Juan Soto trade, how well Eric Fetty has been doing, Keibert Ruiz, all those kinds of things. So keep the engagement coming, guys. Really appreciate it. The national season is difficult, so it's good if all of us can kind of talk about it. You're all, what you guys comment on gives me ideas for the show and really does help this thing keep rolling forward. So appreciate your all's comments. Keep those coming. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you guys also leave thumbs up on the videos. And also, if you guys can, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. Over 400 episodes now. This is my third, well, not full season because the 2020 season was 60 games, but my third season covering the Nationals for Locked On. Really enjoyed it. You guys make it worth it. I love hearing feedback from you all, whether it's good or it's bad. All right, so what you guys want to hear about, though, is another Nationals victory. But before we get there, you guys know what we have to do. We have to set it all up by looking at where the Washington Nationals are at this point in time. The Nationals are 16-30. They are 13 games back of the first place New York Mets. They are now, let's see, doing quick math in my head, 5.5 games back of the Braves, 5.5 back of the Phillies. They are 4 back of the Marlins. They're 7-17 at home. They are 9-13 on the road. They have a minus 59 run differential. They've won 2 games in a row, which is the best winning streak in the National League East right now. They are 4-6 in their last 10 games. As mentioned, it's a 7-3 win. But before we get to that, it's been a really difficult season for the Nationals. We all know this. The Nationals last night got back-to-back wins for the first time since May 1st and May 3rd. And so that's when the Nationals, they beat San Francisco on the road. They beat Colorado in back-to-back games. They scored 21 runs combined. In a difficult season, it's good to see them stack some wins together. Just some positivity in general. It's always good to see. So the Nationals getting back-to-back wins. And I had told you all that, hey, look, they've got the Rockies for 4 at home now. This is a team that's not been very good on the road historically, is not very good on the road. This is a chance for the Nationals to take advantage. And they did last night. And they won 7-3. And you guys know I love to talk about pitching. I think it's so important. So let us start with the pitching last night. Patrick Corbin, 6 1/3, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 Ks, just 80 pitches though on the evening. And I think they wanted to make sure they didn't take him too deep into the game because last time they did, they got burned. But Corbin in this game, guys, he has a rough inning in the, I think it was at second, gives up the 3 runs and then really was lights out the rest of the way. Give up 1 in the second, then 2 in the third. Yeah. So, at that point, then 4th fine, 5th fine, 6th fine, and a little bit in the 7th was fine as well. And for him, we talked about wins and losses a whole lot, but for Patrick Corbin to finally get a win, because a couple times this year he's pitched and deserved a win. It's not like, the games he's pitched in It's like not that they haven't all been awful, but Patrick Corbin has deserved a win and finally got one. I go back to that start, the 8-inning start he made against the Rockies, probably deserved to win. The 5 innings against the Mets, they lost 4-2, deserved to get a win in that situation. He's had a couple of those games this year where he's pitched well. There's been a whole lot of him not pitching well, though. So, to see him last night, had that little rough spot and get through it, 14 ground balls on the evening last night. And the big thing was, for the most part, the defense was up to the challenge. I'll get a little bit to Dee Strange-Gordon here in a second. But just to see him get that win, right? Just to see Patrick Corbin pick up the first W for him since September 23rd of 2021, when he went 6 2/3 scoreless against the Reds. It was a 3-2 win for the Nationals. That's the last time that he got a W. And he did pitch pretty well in that final month of the season, especially those last 2 starts where he went 12 2/3 and he got two combined earned runs, struck out 16 in that time frame. To see him finally get this win now, it feels like, okay, it's been so up and down for him all year. And he gave up 10 earned runs in the last 11 innings that he pitched going into this game. Maybe the Nationals can finally get some positive momentum, because in this month, he's had 5 starts, at least in positive momentum from him, I mean. In this last month, he's had 5 starts, and 3 of them have been really good. The Rocky start, excuse me, the Rocky start I mentioned was really good. The Met start I mentioned was really good. And this start was really good. And the team played well behind him. And so you think about those 3 results. Now, he does have the Milwaukee one where it was, 5 runs in 5 innings, and then 5 runs in 6 innings against the Astros in there. But overall in the month, he has a 4.75 ERA, which is not great. But, for a guy who had a 8.69 in the first month of the season, that's obviously, this is trending in the right direction. We're all about trends here. This is positive. It's just to kind of getting the monkey off of his back, finally getting that W, finally seeing, yourself be able to put one in the win column. It's just got to feel really good for him. So I think that is where I'm at, with Patrick Corbin. He's now 1-7 on the year, the 6.30 ERA. Victor Arano yesterday, 2/3 of inning, scoreless. Tanner Rainey, 2/3 or a whole inning for him, scoreless. And then Steve Cishek, scoreless inning as well. These guys came in, got the job done in what was a relatively close ball game. The Nationals added a couple runs for insurance in the 7th and the 8th, but were able to get the job done there against what is a normally pretty good Rockies offense. And so it's kind of the same names we always hear, Arano, Rainey, and Cishek. And it was cool to see, Rainey come out in that 8th inning. They continue to trust him in big spots. Decided not to go to him in the 9th. I think there were, at times he's looked shaky. The Dodgers game got a little hairy, a little interesting there for him. But look, there's there were a couple moments this year where he's come in and things have not gone great. That game against the Angels where he blew the save wasn't very good. The Astros game gave up 2 runs, wasn't great. And then also, one run, the game against the Marlins obviously wasn't good either. But generally speaking, he's looked really strong. Cishek kind of needed a bounce back. It was good to see that as well. And Arano, good Lord, that guy really has just become he's the full Wander Suero, right? I mean, he is everything that Davey loves in a reliever. He is the ultimate bridge guy. And I feel like he pitches every single game the Nationals have. Or at least maybe I'm wrong here. Every other game the Nationals have. I usually like to do this, so let's just see for him on this season. So let's see. They've played 46 total games, and Arano has made 21 appearances. I think 20 appearances, excuse me. So, I mean, this guy has been so active for the Nationals this year, and it's a good job of getting them out of innings, finishing innings off. You can give them a full inning when they need one. Just a guy who's recovering from surgery. Obviously, this month has not been his best month. 8.22 ERA on the month, but it was 1.64 last month. He did have the San Francisco game where it didn't really matter. They won the game anyway. Miami game earlier in the month where he really got tagged, and then the Dodgers got to him in an inning of work too. But for a guy who doesn't pitch a ton, those certain starts are going to show up on his stat line. I feel like generally speaking, we're all going to be pretty pleased with Arano's performance as a guy that we've mentioned before. And, I think that's a guy they should probably keep just because they use him so much. I think it's somebody who's going to be valuable for them just as a bridge guy, the rest of the season, just to keep him and to get themselves to their back end guys. All right, quick break in the action, and then we'll talk about the offense, baby, which came to play. It's been pretty quiet as of late. It came to play last night against German Marquez. We'll get to that in 1 second, but first, quick word from our sponsors. Today's show is brought to you by Built Bar. Go to Built.com today. That's Built.com. Use the promo code LOCK15, LOCKED15, LOCK15 for 15% off at Built.com today. And that's Built.com today. Once again, promo code LOCK15, LOCKED15. They've got the puffs right now. They've got the brownie batter puffs. They've got the birthday cake puffs. They're both awesome. They're both delicious. You guys will love them both. They have the Built Go. They have the Built Boost. All stuff that is good and good for you all. Once again, Built.com today. It's Built.com, promo code LOCK15, LOCKED15, LOCK15 for 15% off at Built.com. All right, so offensively, how did the Nationals get this thing done last night? Well, they really got it going early. 4 runs in the first against Marquez, and they did it with a variety of guys. Top of the lineup was big time. Nelson Cruz drives in a run. Josh Bell goes nearly hits the top of the wall, about a foot away from going out. And Yadiel Hernandez. Those guys, Nelson Cruz as of late has been really good. We'll get to him just in 1 second. Also, Cesar Hernandez got an extra base hit. Don't see many of those, right? And then Josh Bell, sac fly later in the game. And then a bunt single for Victor Robles that allowed Dee Strange-Gordon to score. So the Nationals offense as of late, like what really has been working for them, Soto's getting on. He's hitting .232 now, just having a down year with the bat at this, with the bat. I mean, without the bat, he's kind of taking the bat out of his hands, still walking a really good deal, right? This is a guy who's still getting on base, at an extremely impressive clip. He's still at 376 on base right now, still has a positive WAR. Yeah, this is the down year of down years for him, but stuff is happening around him. You have to admit the Nationals are doing some things offensively at times. Cesar Hernandez, 2 hits last night. Keibert Ruiz, 1 for 4 last night. Nelson Cruz goes 1 for 3 with a walk and drives in a run. Josh Bell 1 for 3 after his cold streak. Yadiel Hernandez cooled off just a bit, but he goes 1 for 3. And then Dee Strange-Gordon 2 for 3. That average is climbing. Get to him in 1 second. We got to do Nelson Cruz first, though. Okay, folks? Nelson Cruz has really been heating up as of late. He got off to such an abysmal start. That first month, here are the splits: 155, 253, 226, 479. That is a 155 average. That is a 253 on base, a 226 slugging percentage, and a 479 OPS. Well, what has the month of May brought to Nelson? In 73 ABs, Nelson Cruz is hitting 315, 363 on base, 438 slugging, 801 OPS. He's driven in 13 runs. He's hit 2 home runs. Really not hitting for a ton of power this year, but still able to drive in a lot of runs. And especially as of late, Nelly has been red hot. He is currently on a 7 game hitting streak, and 4 of those games have been multi-hit efforts. The weird thing about it is Juan Soto is not getting on base right ahead of it, or not getting on base, but he's not hitting right ahead of him. So it's kind of a thing where they're not really keeping the line moving. Also, Josh Bell slumping. But now that Nelson Cruz is heating up, right, he becomes much more valuable for the Nats because obviously, yes, he's going to help that offense out a whole heck of a lot. They need his bat. If this offense is going to be, perform like they did last night, they 100% are. And also, the Nationals, when you get a player in like that, and you're paying him pretty well, you thinking, okay, with his age, where he is, the universal DH, this guy has to be an asset for us near the trade deadline. Somebody's going to have to want him. And look, his numbers on the whole year aren't great, but the fact that he's really heated up in this month, you can basically sell teams on the player that he currently is, not the player he was in the first month. Those recency numbers really matter, right? You'd hate it if it was flipped around. You really wouldn't like it if he started off with the the really good month, and then went to the month that was not as good, because obviously that would put you in a situation where, hey, okay, is this guy falling off at his age? No, he's proving right now that he has got plenty left in the tank and be a productive member of an offense. Got the average up to 229. And obviously he's driven in, 24 runs for an offense that's not driving in runs at an extremely high clip this year. He is one of the leaders in that category. But you look at him, this is a guy that has had to do the change of scenery thing before in a season. He did it with Tampa last year. It didn't go, excellent for him when he did change scenery, but this is a guy that right now is not tearing the cover off the ball on the whole, but as of late really has been. He's the Nationals' best hitter the last 20 games. There's no debating that. So when Nelson Cruz does this, his value obviously goes up. They need him to stay hot. I was kind of waiting for the perfect time to talk about this. I just wanted to give it time. And now we're approaching now. Let's see, what is it? Next time you guys hear from me, it will be on Sunday. So it's Friday, it'll be 28th, so 29th is the next time that you all will hear from me on this podcast, 29th to 30th. And at that point, we'll have the full month sample size. But we're basically close enough now to have the full month. So a month like that, I've been waiting to make sure it's no fool's gold, and it has not been. He's been really good, 23 hits in the month, 13 RBIs, 2 home runs as well, and also working counts a little bit. But he's up there to be aggressive, though. He's up there to be aggressive. He's swinging a better bat this month, than he was last month. Struck out a decent amount, but still, that's what they want. They want him up there swinging the bat, and he's done a really good job of that this month. OPS climbing to over 800. So it's, everything's trending in a positive direction for him right now. One more quick word from our sponsors and a couple more guys to talk about. Dee Strange-Gordon. Should he be the everyday shortstop now? A little bit about that. But first, one more word from the old sponsors. The Locked On Nationals podcast is brought to you all by our friends at BetOnline and betonline.net. You guys can go to betonline and betonline.net today. When you all do, use the promo code LOCK15, LOCKED15 LOCK15 no promo code there. Get my ad reads mixed up. Go to BetOnline and betonline.net today. When you guys do, it's free to sign up. They have the best deals, the best news, the best odds on playoff hockey, playoff basketball, esports, F1, NASCAR, UFC, boxing, obviously Major League Baseball as well. Go to BetOnline and betonline.net today. BetOnline, it is where the game starts. All right, so another guy who's been hitting very well as of late is Dee Strange-Gordon. And look, it's not a huge sample size, all right, but he is now getting to the point where, look, things weren't really going particularly well for our man's Alcides Escobar at shortstop. Just not the defensive player that he once was, not the offensive player at all he even was last year. And so the Nationals have turned to another older gentleman in the form of Dee Strange-Gordon. And so for him, on the year, he's hitting 283 with a 283 on base, 326 slugging, 609 OPS. But, as of late, he really only played a whole lot in this month. But he's been really good. 5 hits in his last 8 at-bats. Right now, he's hot. And in his last 5 games, he has had 8 hits total. So this guy is, somebody right now, it's not a huge sample size. But when I watch him also on defense, he's just moving around a lot better on the defensive end of things, than I feel like Alcides Escobar is. And I thought he played a really good defensive shortstop last night for the Nationals. Does have 2 errors in the 11 games that he's played at short, but I feel like this is the point right now where it's like, look, they should probably roll with this guy at shortstop. Alcides Escobar just did not feel like it was working out too well. I thought he was sharp last night, and I thought any mistakes that were made really, they didn't really feel like much of them, it didn't really feel like a whole lot of that was on him last night. It felt like for the Nationals, Josh Bell has had some issues. It called 2. You got the error fielding on Dee Strange-Gordon, but Josh Bell had a bad throw. And so I feel like, even though with the error last night, even though he's made 2 total, I'm more confident with him. And I feel like his speed gives them a different dimension. I feel like just because he's hitting better, they should probably roll with him. If you're going to play an old guy at shortstop, just play the older, better guy, Dee Strange-Gordon, and see what happens. And I feel like last night was good enough for me to say, hey, this should be kind of him moving forward. I think we're going to see him continually get the reps there, playing that shortstop position. I think that's where the Nationals have to go. So Nationals win 7-3. Let's see, man. You get 3 more games against the Rockies, a team that is 6-13 on the road, and then that's 7-17. But you've won 2 in a row. They've done that 3 times this year, I think it is total. Let's just see if the Nationals can keep this rolling and see if they can pick up some wins. I know it doesn't, may not result in playoff spot or, contention or whatever. And I know that's what fans ultimately want, but some positivity I think would be nice for all of us because the Nationals have dropped 7 straight series. Now, to win this series, they're going to need 2 more wins. Could be difficult considering it's not very good. But I mean, you win one more game and you're not going to lose it. And I guess that's something positive, right? For a team that's not winning a whole lot, not losing the series could be big. We'll see what happens. You guys make sure you follow us on Twitter at @LO_Nationals. You guys can follow me at @JoshNeighbors_. You guys can find the show wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube as well. All right, friends, enjoy your weekend. Until next time, as always, stay safe.